Hey everybody, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be taking the Myers-Briggs personality test. I've taken it before, multiple times, but I get that question a lot and I think it's a really kind of fun and interesting test. People like to guess my personality type and it is really fun to try to guess people's personality types based on this particular type of indicator. But for those of you who don't know, I'll read a little bit from Wikipedia. It's an introspective self-report questionnaire indicating different psychological preferences and how people perceive the world and make decisions. So yeah, it's used a lot, like if you're looking for a career, it tries to identify your personality and what careers you might be good for, that sort of thing. And these questions are like on a scale between agree and disagree, and you can kind of try to, gauge whatever you think you are. So we'll start with the first one. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. No. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. Yes, I think you guys would probably attest to that. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. Yeah, absolutely. I like to kind of plan a rough idea, but for the most part, I like to be spontaneous and just see where I end up. So yeah, not into big, detailed sorts of things. People can rarely upset you. I mean, that's a hard one. Because, yeah, typically I don't really care what people think. But if it's somebody that I care about, if it's somebody who's close to me, yeah, you have the ability to deeply upset me. So I'm gonna say fairly agree. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. Yeah, I would agree with that. I really don't care. If it would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend all by yourself without feeling bored. I don't like to spend weekends by myself, and I typically don't, but there are times when you just need a break from people, and I will say, yeah, no, it's almost impossible for me to be bored, because I have a lot of things I can do and a lot of things I'm curious about, so that's a near impossibility, so I have to majorly agree on that one. You're more detail-oriented than a big picture person. I'm not very detail-oriented at all. I'm only detail-oriented in the things I do very well. Like in my artwork, you'll notice it's very, very detailed, borderline OCD. But in all other areas of life, I don't care. I'm very unorthodox. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think, well, especially now in our current social and political climate, I don't like to talk to people who are letting their emotions guide them. But if it's more of a personal conversation, certainly, I don't mind that at all. So I'm going to say agree, but kind of closer to the middle. When you're looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog. Nope, I just want to pick one and be done with it, so disagree. You can stay calm under a lot of pressure. Yeah, I'll say kind of towards the middle because I can get a little stressed out, but I tend not to be real dramatic. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. Yeah, my dreams are really fucked up and disturbing. In your opinion, it is sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life. I don't think it's okay, but I think it's kind of necessary. I think in life, no matter who you are, if you are somebody who needs to be successful, or if you want something, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. That's just how things work. Nobody comes out of life unscathed. Always something is unfair, something is at your expense, and that just sometimes has to happen for you to get ahead. I don't care, especially really famous people, you know that they have stepped all over certain people to get to where they are. That's just life. So I don't think it's okay, but I think it is kind of necessary. So I'm going to kind of go middle, but closer to agree. You are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. I get sidetracked a lot. You usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. No, that's a major disagree. That's pretty much the only kinds of conversations I want to have. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. No, disagree. I don't mind crying. You are likely discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future. Yeah, absolutely agree. I have those conversations all the time. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. Yeah, I'm a big emotional person. I tend to focus more on intuition in that sort of way, but I like to let my head in a lot as well because it's often gotten the better of me when I only follow my heart, but naturally I tend to follow my heart more. You usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. I tend to be quite an angry person at times, and I do tend to be more interested in vengeance than I should be. I'm going to say middle. I'm going to say middle because I'm trying to work on being more forgiving. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or movie. Not at all. Of course not. I don't have a YouTube channel where that's all that I do. Agree. You always know exactly what you want. No, I'm quite indecisive, so I'm going to say disagree. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. No, I disagree. I tend to very much inhabit other people's feelings and try to put myself in their shoes, I guess you could say. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. Nah, I just kind of feel it as I go along, so I'm going to say disagree. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. Way too much, yes. You look after yourself first and others come in second. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it often has to be for me because I'm typically have been the one who's been more tempestuous, more kind of gotten myself into more toxic or dangerous situations. So naturally I've had to look after myself first and foremost, and then other people come second. But I'm getting to the point where I'm much healthier, and so I want to be there more for other people. So I'm going to say agree, but maybe slightly closer to medium there. Even when you have planned a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. Yep. Your mood can change very quickly. It can if I'm in a really bad place in my life, or if I'm really depressed, yeah, I can get real emotionally jarring. But I would say on average, probably not. So I'm gonna go more kind of medium there as well. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions way too much, and anybody who's very close to me knows that and probably wants to kill me. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than to organized and consistent efforts. Yes, for years I thought it was more organized, but then I realized no, that's just because I had to in my professional life and in my job, but when I'm not, no, I'm very all over the place. You rarely feel insecure. I mean, I tend to be insecure, and I've had some seriously insecure moments for sure. I used to be cripplingly insecure, but I'm a lot better now, and I actually think I tend to be more confident than a lot of people in certain areas. So I'm gonna go kind of in the middle on that one. And the result is mediator, INFP-T. So that is kind of the free-spirited type of person, the real artistic person, but I will read a little bit about that. On the outside, mediators, INFPs, may seem quiet or even shy, but they often have vibrant or passionate inner lives. Because they make up a small portion of the population, people with this personality type may sometimes feel misunderstood or out of step with the world. Fortunately, their caring nature can help them create and sustain deep relationships with their loved ones. I'd say all of that is very accurate. Mediators value authenticity, empathy, and harmony. Absolutely. I'm all about authenticity. If you're not authentic, we're not going to get along. That's just how it is. These personalities tend to act with the best of intentions, and they are rightly proud of this trait. Yeah, I'm proud of it, clearly. That said, they may feel isolated or discouraged when other people don't share their idealism. Yeah, I easily feel isolated or easily detached, disconnected from people, and sometimes I tend to think that, you know, it's being done to me on purpose when it's really not. But I'll feel a sort of anger or a sort of resentment, something like that. Speaking their truth, many mediators are curious about the depths of human nature, and they often make an effort to understand other people's true feelings. This can make them capable of great empathy. It can also enable them to communicate in ways that are sensitive, original, and quite moving. Yes, you know, for myself, the way I communicate is through art. I have a lot of artistic abilities, and anytime I'm feeling something really intensely, I've got to find a way to exercise that artistically. Otherwise, it can get kind of dangerous because I tend to be a kind of emotionally toxic person towards myself. So yes, I try to do things that are very original and very sensitive to who I am, and I hope to move people in some way. Perhaps because of these strengths, mediators tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. Naturally, I have a YouTube channel. All of this is creative self-expression to a degree. Though I don't say this as much creative, but it's a form of expression. It comes as no surprise that many famous mediators are poets, writers, and actors. People with this personality type often enjoy dreaming up all sorts of stories and possibilities. By using their imaginations in this way, mediators can explore their inner nature and their place in the world. That said, they have a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. If they don't act on their dreams and ideas, mediators are likely to end up feeling frustrated or unfulfilled. Yes, that is a problem. A lot of times I get really kind of into the dreaming of everything, but a lot of times action is my problem. I'm like, I won't actually do it, but I'll sit there and fantasize about it and create elaborate scenarios about it, but rarely will it happen. So that's another thing I'm trying to work on and getting better at it. Mediators may feel directionless or stuck unless they connect with a sense of purpose for their lives. Yes. For many mediators, this purpose has something to do with helping and uplifting others, empathetic by nature. These personalities may feel other people's suffering as if it were their own. This only strengthens their motivation to be of service. Okay, so I do agree with that to a degree, but the thing I agree with most is the thing, like taking on other people's suffering as though it was my own. If somebody is going through something that I really care about and it's very serious, sometimes I tend to go overboard in caring for it, that I will start taking on their pain and it starts to really weigh me down. And at that point, you're both kind of useless because, I'm hurting, they're hurting, it's not very productive. So I have to learn to disconnect myself to just a degree, enough to where I can be of help. But yeah, that's certainly a problem. Although mediators might want to help everyone, they may need to focus their attention and energy on one worthy cause at a time. Yes, that's true in my case. Otherwise, they can become so overwhelmed by all their problems they can't fix that they're tempted to give up on everything. This is a sad sight for mediators' friends who often depend on their hopeful outlook. I don't know if people depend on my hopeful outlook, but I know, I've gone through that before, and people who are my friends have been very sad to watch that. So some of the strengths of mediators are thoughtful, caring about other people's feelings. They adjust their actions if they think they might hurt anyone, even unintentionally. Yes, very true. Generous, mediators rarely enjoy succeeding at others' expenses. In general, people with this personality type want to share the good things in their lives. They value equality, and they want to ensure that every voice and perspective is heard. Yeah, that's true. Open-minded, I would agree with that. Creative, yeah, that's a big one. Mediators can often see things from unconventional perspectives with their ability to make surprising and unexpected connections. It's no wonder that mediators are drawn to creative pursuits and the arts. Passionate, yes, that's a big one. I'm a very, very, very passionate person. When an idea or movement captures a mediator's imagination and speaks to their beliefs, they can give their whole heart to it. Yes, if I get into something, I throw myself into it. Like film, as an example. I can't just say I like movies. If I really like them, I have to know everything about them. I have to become an expert, very passionate, and I'm going to use it in some form. So yeah, I would agree. Loyal to their values, hugely. Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but mediators' far-reaching vision can help them stay the course, blah, 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 blah. Okay, weaknesses. This is more interesting, is the weaknesses, I think. Overly idealistic. Yeah, that's been a criticism. Mediators can take their idealism too far. People with this personality type might idolize their romantic partners or expect every aspect of their job to feel meaningful. This can set them up for disappointment when reality falls short of their dreams. Yeah, I've been easily disappointed in my life, or if my heart is broken, it hits me much, much harder than certain people. Certain people, when they're hurt deeply, you want to comfort them, but they'll be okay. I'm one of those people where I may not be okay. Impractical. When something captures a mediator's attention, they become so consumed by it that they neglect practical matters. Some people with this personality type even neglect eating or sleeping as they pursue their passion. Other mediators can become so enamored with that idea that they're afraid to act on it because they might not do it perfectly. Yeah, I think both are accurate, but I will say I neglect so much in my life. I am that person, like if you come into my apartment and I'm in a place where I'm really consumed by something, it's disgusting around here. I'm not a practical person. I am not the kind of person that is going to wash my dishes the day that I make a big meal. It's just not going to happen. And I don't particularly care. It doesn't bother me. Emotionally driven, yes, that's a huge one. You get so focused on your emotions that you lose track of what's really going on. It can be a challenge for these personalities to slow down and make sure that their feelings aren't preventing them from clearly seeing the facts of a situation. Yeah, I'm very much a fan of facts. I think, Emotions are wonderful in certain aspects, but I think, you know, in a lot of other areas, it's very important to focus on facts. Facts are underrated in this generation. That being said, naturally, I am much more emotional. So I get very hot-headed. I have to kind of stop myself, or I need somebody to be like, you're starting to get a little emotional. And I have to go, okay, you're right. And then I have to think more rationally. Conflict averse. That's a big one. Mediators generally prefer to avoid conflict. They can put a great deal of time and energy into trying to please everyone. This desire to please others can drown out their own inner wisdom and make them painfully sensitive to even constructive criticism. That's actually not true. I tend to be pretty open-minded to constructive criticism. I just don't like criticism that is unfair. Like if you criticize me, but it's clear that you weren't listening to what I said, or you're using it as a motive to be condescending, I hate that. But if it's actual, I can tell you were listening, I can tell you were paying attention, and you have actual constructive criticism, I really think that's important. I want to be better. Even if it's not always easy to hear, I think it's so important. And I grew up in a world of like music and dance and you know, it's very competitive. So, you know, I was used to people telling me, you know, like, you suck, come back when you're better. You know, I think it's important. So I'm not particularly sensitive to that sort of thing, I would say. Mediators are private, reserved, and sometimes self-conscious. This can make them somewhat difficult to really get to know. Their need for personal space can contribute to the guilt they feel for not giving more of themselves to those they care about. Yeah, that's so true. Very private, very reserved. So many people try to figure me out, and they're very like, oh, you're such an enigma. You're so different from other people. I get that so often. And yeah, it's very rare for somebody to really touch my heart to where I'm willing to, you know, give who I really am to them. And I have a very small amount of people that I'm willing to do that for. But when I do, I'll give you a lot, maybe more than you ever asked for. But yeah, that's totally accurate. And the conclusion, which is, you know, just a bunch of flowery word shit. But anyway, that is me taking the Myers-Briggs test. And again, it's always interesting to learn a little bit about yourself. I've done this even, you know, with friends to figure out what are some of our ways we can work together and be better at complementing our personality types. And I know it's a very kind of generic, basic test, but it's really fun. It's fun to do. So if you haven't taken it, I'll put a link below. If you'd like to take it, and if you have, you know, let me know what some of you guys are. You know, I'm one of the more rare personality types, but I like to hear from all kinds of different personalities. So that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of my Patreon supporters are here. Thank you guys so much. If you like art and you like supporting artists, I am an artist as well, and I sell commissioned portraits, options on my website, as well as prints of my work, and you can find all of that at deepfocuslens.com. If you are interested in a commission and you have any questions about it, you can certainly email me. My email is below for that, and I'm happy to talk to you, answer any questions you have. And beyond that, all of my social media information is below. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you want to. Catch you next time.